good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me? Can I have some thumbs up? You can all hear me? Great, great, great. Thank you so much for being here with me on the call again. Some of you I know, some of you I've been seeing for almost every day. So thank you. Thank you for joining my calls every single night. Thank you. And for those of you who are with us for the first time, welcome. Welcome to the series, It's Your Life. So first of all, for those who don't know me, my name is Mona Abdulrahim-Santl, and I'm the owner of Mind Your Power. Now, Mind Your Power is a holistic consultancy, and we deal with communication a lot. What is communication, and how do we communicate so that people feel positive? Yeah, what is the communication of the mind actually? How does our mind communicate? I have been working in that field of the subconscious mind since about 25 years now, and it's a field that I love. And today I'm talking to you about not hypnosis and not NLP and not hypnotherapy as such, but a special topic that I have developed, which I call hypno-parenting. What is hypno-parenting? You will find out. So we have Switzerland, we have Spain, we have Dubai, we have Lebanon, French, but Dubai. Okay, welcome, welcome everybody. Wonderful. Now just by a yes maybe in the chat box, who of you has, Abu Dhabi we have, who of you has children? Can I just know by a show of a yes in the chat box, who of you has children? Or a show of hands, that's fine too, I can see you. Perfect, perfect. We have quite a bit here of children, of parents. Okay, perfect, perfect. Great. It's Your Life series has started on the 1st of April, and I am so honored because I had wonderful, wonderful speakers speak every night and share their wisdom with you. Share techniques and tips of how to stay well and healthy during these times and how to cope with the coronavirus that's going outside. Because as I said before, at Mind Your Power, it's all about your well-being in the inside. So whilst we cannot change what's happening outside there, we can definitely change what's happening inside of us. But today, it's not about you. Today is actually about your children. So, hypno-parenting. A lot of times when I say hypno-parenting, people say, oh, hypnosis. What is hypnosis? Afraid of hypnosis, right? Many people are afraid of the word. But let me tell you something. In this case and today, and for the sake of this webinar today, I really would like you for a split second to be scared, not of hypnosis itself, but of the power of hypnosis. Why? Because many of you said, yes, 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 you have children, 3 years old, 9 months old, 2 kids, etc. Yeah, a lot of you. Great. Do you know that you are hypnotizing your child every single day? Think about it. You are doing the hypnosis. So what I do as a hypnotherapist, I only dehypnotize from all the effects that they have had from the moment they're born or even before until now. Why is that we say we are hypnotized? The reason is because we don't learn, and that's a statement I will make, a bold statement now. You don't learn with your brain. All education systems, all systems tell us that we learn with the brain. If we go to school, yeah, we say, come on, think, yeah. A lot of people say think to learn. Children don't learn with their brains. In fact, children do have brains, but they don't have that ability to analyze, to rationalize when they are very, very young. So from the age of -0, and I'm saying minus because in your mother's womb, you are actually experiencing her feelings, her thoughts, her emotions. And all of that is hypnotizing you, is affecting you for your life. Now, in a time like now, in difficult times, it is really, really important to know how we are affecting our children. And this is basically what I want to give you tonight. I'm going to talk about hypno-parenting a little bit, about that program that I love. But I also want to take out of hypno-parenting a few tips. I cannot do so much. The program is usually a 4-week program that I have designed to give parents the same information as a hypnotherapist has when he learns hypnotherapy. But of course, on a scale that a parent can take, yeah, without the word therapy in it. And it is a 4-week program where you have exercises to do, where you learn things, and when you have homework. But now we only have 1 hour approximately. So I'm going to take just a few tips, the important ones for this time now, and share them with you. So the very, very first tip that I will now give you is, it's not about your child. It is about you. And I will say, be selfish. I'll say that again. Be selfish. Now, I know a lot of parents, a lot of mothers will say, no, but I do everything for my child, and my child is like my, I'll do everything for them. How many of you actually do this? Can I see some hands here? So how many say, I do everything for my children? Yeah, I can see some. Well, not all of you have your videos on. Yeah, but some of you do that. Let me tell you how a child learns. We have a subconscious mind and we have a conscious mind. Like I said before, the conscious mind of a child is not developed until he is about 5, 6 years old. So everything else will be learned through the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the world, is the mind of emotions and feelings. It's not an analytical one. It's not a logical mind. So it learns through feelings, through observation, through visual impact. Now, the thing is that when children are born, they have that sense even more developed. I always say, we have 5 senses. That's what we learn in school. But actually, we have 6 senses. And when a baby is born, it has that 6th sense, that sense of feeling. Yeah, we don't only see and touch and smell and taste and hear. We also have that feeling, when you are with someone and you just feel him, or what some people call telepathy, whatever it is. If you have children, you know that as a mother, we have that special connection to our babies, that invisible connection, where maybe just before the baby wakes up at night, we can hear him, even though he hasn't cried yet. Yeah, that invisible connection. And children will have that sense when they are born. So they have an ability to see through you. Now, let me tell you a story to make that a little bit more clear. A couple of months ago, I was working with a lady who came to me because she needed me to fix her child, because that's what usually parents want, right? They come and they say, oh, my child, she doesn't get dressed and she doesn't listen and he doesn't do his homework and he's always fighting with his brother, and please do something. And she said, my daughter is retracting. She's in her, she doesn't talk to me anymore. I can't get through to her. She was about 8. I can't get through to her. She doesn't tell me what she's doing, and I have no idea what she's doing in her room, and she doesn't talk to me anymore. Please, please help me. So I said, no, we're not doing anything with your child now. Let's talk to you first. And I found out that the mother was just divorced, and she was going through a little bit of financial not difficulties actually, but she was worried about the future, worried about the family, worried about how she will sustain the family as a single mother. So let me ask you a question before doing that. Do you like being around people who are positive? think about your friends, where when you go to them and, you know, you sit there, you have dinner, you have a drink, you are with them, and they're positive and you laugh. How does that feel? Do you like being there? Some thumbs up? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, great, great. Now, how about your friends who are negative? Friends who always moan and you know, are complaining about things. How do you feel when you are around them? What feelings do you have? Yeah, okay, I can see thumbs down. Okay, great, yeah. And guess what? It's the same for children. Children don't like to be around their parents when they're in a bad mood or when they're worried or when they're stressed. Why? Because they sense that. Now put yourself in that 8-year-old girl who sees her mother worried, who sees the body language, who sees her frowning and sitting there and maybe crying at night because she doesn't know how to cope with that situation. For that 8-year-old girl, she sees that something is terribly wrong, but she actually doesn't know what it is and she cannot help. So what happens in that child? Fear. Fear of the unknown. And of course, the mother told me, no, she has no idea what's going on. I don't tell her anything. Well, there's where children are really, really smart and have that sixth sense, because you don't need to tell them what's wrong, they can feel it. So I didn't work with the child, I actually worked with the mother. And my first tip to her was, what is it that would make you happy? And that's why I said to you, be selfish. Actually, for all of those of you watching right now, I have been writing a book about selfishness since about 10 years. And now Corona has made it possible for me to every day write another chapter. So very soon that book will be available. And it is about being selfish. Because many people have that connotation to that word that it is something bad. But you know what? If you are not selfish, if you don't have everything that if you don't have joy and happiness and love in you, you cannot give it to anyone else. Yeah? So start with yourself. So back to our story. So I started working with that woman, and she said she would love to go to the gym. And she started going to the gym. She started going out again, seeing her friends again. Not at all taking care of the 8-year-old, but taking care of herself. And when I say not at all, of course she took care of her, but in the first place herself. And within just a couple of weeks, I think it took about 3 or 4 weeks, that girl came back. That girl was in connection with her mother again. She was happy to share with her, and they had a wonderful, wonderful connection and relationship. So why am I saying all of that? One thing that is really important in that whole field of parenting is your awareness. Now, hypno-parenting, I told you that course, I am a hypnotherapy instructor, so I teach hypnotherapy, and I took out all of the things that I actually teach people to become hypnotherapists. However, I also added 2 major components. One of them is NLP, it's neuro-linguistic programming. For the ones who have no idea what it is, neuro-linguistic programming is the science of how the mind works, how we communicate with each other. And the other part that I took in was emotional intelligence. And for those of you who are familiar with emotional intelligence, it means being aware of yourself. And on the other hand, it means being aware of others. Because only if I'm aware of myself, I can manage myself. And if I'm aware of others, I can manage my relationship to others. Okay, I have a comment here saying, selfies means ignore kids. Like I said before, I didn't mean ignore kids, but I said take care of yourself before taking care of your kids, right? You know, when you're sitting in the plane and the oxygen masks fall and the captain says, take it first and then give the kids. Like I said before, you can only give what you have. You cannot give what you don't have, okay? So Mahir, selfies doesn't mean ignore kids, but it means give yourself first so that the kids will see the reflection in you. Because like I said before, kids don't learn from what you tell them, they learn from what they see. Yeah? Does that make sense, Mahir? Okay, what else do we have here? Comments. Barbara saying no, 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 no. I don't understand what you mean, Barbara. Eliane is saying no, it doesn't mean ignore kids, but oh, okay, so that's a response to Mahir. Thank you, Barbara. And Eliane, no, it doesn't mean ignore kids, but if the mother is happy and positive, she can reflect that to her kids. Exactly. Danielle is saying, remember the airplane announcement? Yeah, place the oxygen mask first. Okay, so thumbs up for the airplane announcement. Yeah. Back to our story. And yeah, so what I was saying is that children don't learn from what you tell them. They learn from what they see. Now, very typical thing that happens. Your child is fighting, your child is shouting. And have you heard that before? Don't shout at me! Sorry if I scared someone. What just happened? How many times do we see that? We're saying to the child what not to do, but we're doing it ourselves. Or here's another example. Yeah, I'm on my phone. Hi, how was school, honey? And then I say, don't be on your phone all the time. Put off the iPad. Yeah. So self-awareness is the #1 thing that we need in hypnoparenting or in parenting as such. We need to be aware of ourselves. I would like to do a small exercise with you, an exercise that I actually do in the courses that I offer. So for all of you who have many children, just pick one now. And I'd like you now to close your eyes for a moment. Just close your eyes and just imagine a day in your life. And just imagine your child is still in bed in the morning. And just pick one child if you have many. And now just imagine that you could just fly out of your body and go into that body of that child in bed. And it's right before that time where you need to get up to go to school. And you are in your bed. And now I'd like you to hear through the ears of the child, what's going on at home? What do you hear? Do you hear your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters? What's going on in the house? And now, look through the eyes of your child. What is it that you can see? Look at the faces of your parents. Look at everything at home. And now feel what this child is feeling at this moment. And go through the day. Jump now to that moment where your child comes home from school. What does he or she see? Hear, feel. And go all the way until they go to bed at night. You can open your eyes again now. Do we have any comments? When I do this exercise with my groups, sometimes it is very shocking for some parents. So I invite you to do that every once in a while, to become aware of what is that child actually seeing. When you go out to pick them up from the school bus, are you standing there with a smile and looking at them? Or are you on your phone and all preoccupied and have this frown on your head, on your forehead, saying, come on, we have to go, and are stressed? I have some comments here, lots of command and orders to do this, go wash your hands, etc., etc. Yeah. Christina says, that was amazing. We can see positive points and some negative points. Absolutely. Also the positive points, Christina. Very well said. Yeah, that was amazing. For sure, there can be improvements. So that awareness, that part of awareness is really one thing that is so important, because this is what your child sees every single day. Yeah. So I invite you to take that exercise, and every once in a while, just do it for yourself. Now, I want to go a little bit into the world of today and into that time of today that we are in now. A lot of parents are afraid, are worried about their future, about maybe their jobs. A lot of children are maybe frustrated because they cannot see their friends. A lot of parents are overwhelmed maybe because of homeschooling going on in a lot of countries. And you know what? You are not born to be a teacher, unless you are a teacher by profession, but most of you parents are actually not teachers. And here you are now having to teach your child. So there are some frustrations there. There are some challenges. Let me put it this way. Yeah. So how, again, if we want to see what I said before, our face is showing the children how they should feel if they are worried or if they are happy. Now, I'm not saying be happy. I'm also not saying ignore all of it. Yeah, I'm saying talk to the children, because they should realize that, yes, even if there is a problem, there also is a solution. So don't ignore everything. Don't tell them, no, everything is fine, and hide it from them. Like I said before, they're smart, they'll know it anyway. But also don't show them fear. Now, I would like to, I have here I brought out something just to show you something. And I would like to show you 2 pages of a very, very old photo album that I found. And, you know, I would like to here just acknowledge and just, I'm so grateful for my parents, because my dad, who passed away 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, he had that he was positivity, you know, in pure positivity. And my mom, bless her, she always did photo albums for us, you know, from the moment I was born. So I have, I think, around 30 albums just of my childhood. But I would like to show you 2 pages, and I don't know if you can see that. Can you see these pictures of me? And right there, swimming, and there's a lake. Yeah. And the second page is very similar. Oops. So it is more or less like going to see sights, right? You all agree? It's like a tourist album. Well, why I showed you these pictures is some of you might know me. I was born in Lebanon, and I lived there during the war time of the 70s. And this was the trip, I would call it, when we had to leave Lebanon because of the war. And it was actually fleeing from a war by car from one country to the other. Now, if you see these pictures, would you have guessed that this is a family fleeing from war? Just give me yes or no. Just put it in the chat. No. Of course, yeah. And, you know, and this is what I'm very grateful for. You can see a situation, you can sit in a situation. Oh, Beryl, hi, you're here. We can sit in a situation and say, oh my God, everything is so bad, and just put that fear all around us and in that environment of the home, and of course the child will pick it up. Or we can say, okay, let's live the moment. Let's be where we are. Let's enjoy every single moment we have. We're at home now. Let's play a game. Let's enjoy our food. Let's enjoy a TV show together. Let's enjoy, maybe if we have a garden, just going outside for a moment. Just being in the now, because this is what many, many people have. They live either in the past or in the future. Both will bring stress. Why? Because it's not what you're living now. If you keep thinking of what happened, yeah, maybe some of you had experiences that were similar, or experiences where you were at home because you maybe lost your job and you were at home. And you just remember that. Now I'm at home again. Oh my God, that was not a good situation. Yeah. So what happens is that this situation was in the past. We cannot change the past, but it is affecting you right now. And then again, many people live in the future. And a lot of people that I'm seeing at the moment, thank you for all your comments. A lot of people are living an anxious future. They are thinking about what happens if I lose my job? What happens if I cannot, go and see clients anymore? What happens if we run out of toilet paper in some countries, yeah, or food? Yeah. So what happens is that this, I call an anxiety a memory of the future that hasn't happened yet. Why do I say a memory? Because as soon as you have an image in your mind, and every single thought turns into an image, or it doesn't need to be a picture, yeah, but a visualization, an imagination. And every time you imagine something in your mind, it is reality for your subconscious mind. Let me repeat that. When you imagine something, whether it's past or future, in your mind, it is reality for your mind at the moment. So if you think about something of the past or the future that was unpleasant, yeah, all of you, just think about it right now. What do you feel? If you want, just close your eyes for a moment and think of a situation that was not very pleasant. See yourself there. Hear the words that were spoken around you. Feel the feelings that you had. How do you feel? And how do you feel in your body? Did anyone have a little bit of tightness in the chest or in the stomach? Anger? Ooh, yeah, yes, yeah, okay. Well, now I just, for the sake of, I don't want to let you there, just close your eyes one more time and just imagine a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. A wonderful moment of your time. And again, see where you are and hear what you're hearing and feel what you're feeling. And now open your eyes again and tell me, was there a difference between the first time and the second time? Yeah? Yeah, that's freedom, of course, yes. Freedom, happiness, absolutely. That's because our subconscious mind will live our imagination and not what happened then or now. It lives the imagination, but not the now. Yeah. So it is really, really important to be living in the now with your children. Sayan, you're saying you're sorry you have to leave, but your kids are keeping coming back from beds. Sayan, if you are still here, I don't know if you are still with us. Are you? Yes, you are still here. I have I wanted to say that at the end, but for anybody who has to leave, please do leave me a message on the email address that I'm just typing in now. It's mona@mindyourpower.org, because everybody who was on the call today will get my ebook, 10 tips of how to be an emotionally intelligent parent. You will get it for free. If you just send me an email to this email, and then I will send it to you. So thank you very much for being here. And yes, of course, if you have to leave, thank you. So just back to what I was saying. Make that moment for them a positive one, because they can learn from that positive moment that whatever is happening, we can change that moment with our thoughts. And now here's the other big factor. You have probably all heard about something called the fight or flight syndrome. This is something that happens when we have fear, when we are stressed. Now, stress is something wonderful at times. We need stress. We have positive stress. We have moments where the stress hormones are really, really helpful. These are moments when we need to excel, when we need to, let's say we have an emergency and we need to very quickly do something and react. Yeah, someone's pushing me in front of a car. Oops, I need to just react and go away, right? Or if there is a fire and I need to flee. These are very, very useful moments for our stress hormones to be released. And we have this from a long, long time ago when we were still living in the caves. And there was no, whatever we have now. And a lion came to attack you. What did you do? You either fled or you fought. So what happens in our body as soon as stress hormones are released, our body, our brain will send a message to our heart, will say pump faster and pump all the oxygenated blood into the arms and the legs, because this is what we need to flee or to fight. We need these muscles, these strong muscles. And at the same time, because our body is such a perfect creation, our body does so much on its own. Yeah, think about it. When we are born, our body is just small, and then it starts developing on its own. We breathe alone, we digest. When we have a wound, our body heals all by itself. So our perfect creation knows exactly that in this moment, the blood has to be, the oxygenated blood has to be pushed into these muscles that I need to fight or to flee. And what happens is that the other muscles are a little bit deprived of oxygenated blood. Yeah. So let's say we have about 5 liters of blood, and most of it will go to the arms and the legs. What happens, for example, to our stomach muscles? They will be deprived. So that's why we have a lot of people who will have digestion issues if they are stressed. Yeah. Also, our reproduction system will not work as well, and also our immune system will not work as well. The immune system is nothing that our body needs in an emergency situation. So think about the body as like little workers, yeah, and they're all alert when there is a stress situation to fight. Do we need an immune system? Do we need digestion? No. We need to fight or to run. We need our immune system now. We need to boost it. So we need relaxation. We need to be happy, relaxed. Yeah, we need to release endorphins. And the endorphins are your happiness and your relaxation hormones. Now, another thing that happens when the children are stressed is that another part of our body that does not need at all, that we don't need at all for fight or flight, is the frontal lobe of our brain. Our brain has our primitive brain, which is the amygdala, which is the reactive brain. That part of the brain will work because we need to react. But the part of our brain that was last developed, which is the frontal lobe, that part that is responsible for thinking and analyzing, that part that you use when you sit in class and do your math, whatever, or write something, this part will be shut down by your system. Because in an emergency situation, if I was to stand there and to think, what kind of line is that? Is that a good line or a bad line? What is the best route for me to take? Then I would be dead already. So that means that this part is shut down. And now imagine your child is sitting at home and the entire environment is a stressful environment. Maybe because the father is worried about the job, the mother is stressed about overwhelmed work, the TV is on, showing images of people who are worried and things happen and sick. That stress will affect the child. And then you have your child sitting in the midst of all of that environment and telling him, study, do your homework, you have to be good, you have to know this tomorrow. And you're adding the stress on him. And the more stress you add, the more that block will be there. Think about yourself when you were in school and you had someone pressure you, when you had that exam in front of you and suddenly all the information that you knew so well, boom, we're gone, blank. Yeah, that's what happens to your children if you're on top of them. And like I said before, you are not a teacher. Yeah, you don't know how to be a teacher. I mean, many teachers don't know how to be a teacher, but that's another story. But you don't have that experience with them. And there you are having to do your housework and plus your other work if you are also working, plus taking care of your child. So yes, that overwhelmed feeling, these challenges that you have will be transferred onto your child. And then your child will not be able to think properly and in a relaxed mode. I would love to tell you a story, a very short story, because I love my kids and I always share stories of my children. So they're 28, 29, and 30 by now, but my youngest one was doing his IB. So for the ones who don't know, this is the International Baccalaureate. And I was called, and I went into the school, a school where I was actually teaching well-being at that time. And the IB coordinator said to me, listen, I told your son he has to work better in English. You know, he's so good in math and in science, but his English essays are just that short, and he's so lazy, and he doesn't want to write. And your son just looked at me and said, you know, I'm happy. My mother always says, be happy and relaxed, and I am happy and relaxed. And I looked at that teacher and I was so proud of my son. And I said, yes, if he is relaxed and happy, he'll make it. He doesn't need an A in English if this is not what is interesting for him. And, you know, the thing was that it's not so much the children that were so stressed out, but the parents. And I remember all the parents around me worried about what university are you going to? What grades will you have? Will you get into that uni? So take that pressure off your children, whether they're small or older. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay. Let me give you another tip when you're dealing with small children. First of all, any parents saying, and the teachers are stressed too. Yes, well, the teachers that's the totally different story. But yeah, the same applies to teachers actually, yeah, how to deal with children a lot of times. Do we have any questions here up to now? No, so let me just move forward. I have a few tips that I want to tell you still, which has to do with the children. Now, children need attention. All children need attention. And for a child, it's the utmost of joy when they have, when a parent is acknowledging them. Yeah, when you as a mother or father says, well done, you know, good job, etc. When you give them that attention, they want attention. So I've had a lot of cases where children do things just to get attention. Okay, I have here, just before I start, Aruna is saying how to balance ourselves, kids work and home chores. I will get to that in a minute. Maisa, yes, I have a question, but I was waiting for the Q&A. Because of all of this, we automatically get stressed. Okay, can I take your 2 questions just in a moment? If I don't, please remind me. I just want to finish that attention part and then I'll get back to you. Is that okay? So we, and again, I would like to share a story here of my other son, my middle son, who was 2 when the youngest was 1 and the oldest was 3. And one day I caught him in the bedroom with scissors, and he was cutting the curtains. And I stood there and I said, what are you doing? And he said, with his 2 years, but children are so direct and so, you know, naive and direct. And he just said, Mama, I wanted you to come. And that, I will never forget that story. And I think this was like an eye-opener for me to say, yes, of course, they will do anything to get the attention of the parents. So here's a tip for you. Or before I start with a tip, I want to ask you a question. What do you do when your child is behaving? When your child is just sitting there and playing or doing his homework or playing with his sister, we will appreciate. Aruna, do you actually tell them that you appreciate that? Yes? Well done. So a lot of times when I ask this question in my courses, people will say, well, I will finally, when they do this, I finally have the time to do the million things that I have to do, you know, whether it's cooking, cleaning, working, doing my emails, whatever it is. Many people use the time where their children are quiet to do something that they need to do. So my tip of today here is, when they are quiet, when they are doing something, just, you know, minding their own business, go over there and sit with them. I know you need that time. I know it's a precious time for you, but just sit with them and look at what they're doing and ask them about it. Don't tell them this is nice. Yeah, don't judge what they're doing. Just be with them. That's all they want. Just be with them. Yeah. And let's talk about other things you can do instead of doing that thing. I don't like what you did, but I love you. Beryl, yeah, so that's when they do something different. But when they're actually really doing something good, yeah, something where they're behaving, just go with them and sit with them and be with them in that time. As I said, without judging them. And now comes the hard part. When they are doing something, when they're misbehaving, yeah, when they're doing something you don't want them to do, ignore. Now, don't ignore if they're taking a knife and want to, you know, stab their brother or something like that. However, if there's something where, you know, they're doing something or just shouting or being misbehaved, ignore it. And you know what? You will not believe. Usually I give this as a homework in week number 1 of the 4 weeks. And about 95% of the people come back in week 2 and say, wow, that was so easy. Because it is. Why? Because, like I said before, children are so smart. They will do everything to get your attention. And if they have you while they are, you know, doing something good, they will continue doing it. Now, one thing that you also should avoid when you go over and sit with them is to tell them, see how mommy is good with you? See, because you're doing that? Don't tell them what you do. Just do it. Don't tell them. Because again, children don't learn from what you tell them. They learn from how you are with them. They learn through feeling. And when they get that wonderful feeling of connection, then they will be happy. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate this. Happy to read your book. Okay, Marisa, I still have a few tips. Don't go yet. Okay, I want to go back to the 2 questions I had. So the first question was from Aruna, how to balance ourselves, kids, work, and home chores. Now, I just did a talk yesterday about actually exactly that. And I'm happy to share with you the webinar. No, it was a German talk, but I'm going to do it in English too. Plan your day, okay? So for the people who are working at home now also, I know that you have a lot on your plates. You have your work, you have the customers, you have your phones, you have your emails, everything coming in, and then you have the family and the kids as well. Plan your day differently. So first of all, we need to be able to do this, we need the right attitude. And the attitude is, how do you see things? Do you see yourself locked down, or do you see yourself flexible to do things? One of my favorite inspirational authors and writers and speakers who unfortunately passed away, so he cannot share anymore, but his books are all fabulous. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I'm sure a lot of you know him. He said, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Yeah, again. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. So the first part of being, juggling your time is actually having that attitude that you can. Yeah. Another wonderful quote from Henry Ford, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right in both ways, yeah? So embrace that. Look at the things from a different perspective. Don't see it as, oh my God, I'm locked down, I cannot do anything, I am stressed, I have all the work at home. See it as, oh, now I am flexible to, maybe work a little bit later hours or earlier hours or change my pace of work. The other thing is plan. So plan, first of all, your environment. The environment when you work at home has to be an environment where you feel good, where you feel in the mode, where your mindset is in the frame, your frame of mind is in work mode. So set up a place, and if you have a small space and you don't have an extra office in your house, then I'd suggest you even go into the bedroom and just put a very small table in there, because then you can separate living room and bedroom and have the kids and everything in the bedroom and stay in the living room and stay in the bedroom. Yeah, or take whatever corner you can, but the environment is really important, and set it up so that you can work and so that you can feel good. Wherever you feel, where you can work at home. The second thing is, plan your agenda differently than you do at work. Schedule your calls, schedule your time with flexibility. So be flexible on timing, be flexible on the timings of others, and be flexible that you might have maybe the sound of a dog in the background with your business partner you're talking to, or things like that. When you plan your day, definitely 100% plan in family time. You cannot separate and say, okay, this is my schedule, and like you have your diary at work where you have a meeting from 9 to 10, a meeting from 10 to 11, a meeting from 11 to 12. Well, you can't do this at home, because there are other chores, there are other things happening at home, and they belong now to the same environment. So plan some time schedule some time, let's say 8 to 9 is a meeting, 9 to 10 is another meeting, and then 10 to 11 is time to have a breakfast with the kids. 11 to 12 is another meeting, and then 12 till 2 is go out and play with them or something like that. Involve, for those of you who live in the world where we have housemaids at home, involve them too, so that they know that, you know, from 10 to 11 they cannot come with a Hoover and Hoover next to you or things like this. So involve everybody who is at your house. It's like involving your entire team at work. What else did I want to say? Balance kids, work, home, chores. Yeah, and then the other thing is communicate with everybody this. So like I was saying, communicate with your mate, communicate with your family, yeah? That communication at home and make the children understand that, okay, now we play. But they can only understand if you dedicate also time to them. Depending on the ages of the children, if they're very small, they will not understand that daddy's at home, but I cannot play with him. Why? You know? So make that clear. Did that answer a little bit your questions, Aruna? Are you okay? Yes, okay, perfect. Now I'm going to the other question that was from, oh, Maisa. You were saying I have a question, but I was waiting for the Q&A part. If it's a question that I already, you know, something that I already said, please go ahead and just would you like to unmute yourself and say it, or would you like to type it? My son built an anxiety during bedtime. Okay. There are many things that can be involved there. Many things. He cannot sleep without anyone next to him. How old is your son, Maisa? 9. How long has he had that? When did he develop that anxiety? 1 year? Okay. Maisa, if you want, you can just send me an email. Again, my email is there, and I will give you a 1 hour session for free. How about that? I will share a story right now that will help you. And but Maisa, please do contact me, okay? I was working with a woman who had a lot of difficulties getting her daughter to sleep, and she was fighting with her every single night. And she said, I can't get her to get into her pajamas, to brush her teeth, to sleep. It is a fight every single night. And she, you know, I always have to wait for my husband to come home so that she sleeps. And when I spoke to her even more, that woman again was, they had a very difficult relationship, she and her husband. They didn't want to get divorced, but they had a very bad relationship. And they used to hide their issues in front of the kids and discuss them at night. Now, like I said before, children are very wise and very smart and sense everything. So there are two parts to that story. One is that in psychology, we have something that we call secondary gain, and everybody will understand that. It's something that our subconscious mind does because it's more important than doing something else. So in her case, she didn't want to sleep, basically, or she got these feelings of no, I cannot sleep, etc. Until let me just go back one step and tell you that there was nothing wrong with the child, right? There was nothing wrong with the girl, because I asked the mother, well, what happens when your husband comes home? And then she says, well, then he brings her to bed, and then she goes to bed. Yeah, but she gets up again later on. So that first part was really about that. And I said, well, that's, you know, if she goes to bed with your husband, that doesn't mean that she cannot do it. That doesn't mean that she's not brushing her teeth and not getting ready and not sleeping. That only means that something inside of her knows exactly that if I do that now, I will not see daddy anymore. Yeah. So we changed that, and what we did was actually similar to what I told you about attention getting, where her father, when he came home, did not go and see her. Yeah. But on the flip side, he did see her a lot of times when he was at home, and go and spend time with her and sit with her during the weekends. But he refrained from coming home, from going to see her when he came home. So somewhere inside of her, she learned, well, it's no point waiting, because he won't, you know, it's not, it wasn't linked anymore to, I have to be bad, I have to be misbehaved so that daddy comes and sees me, you know, that link. But the other thing is, from what you're saying, and I'm just talking about that case, it could be different things here, is that subconsciously, when a child knows that something is happening while I'm sleeping, even adults have that a lot of time when, for example, let me finish with children first, sorry. So what was happening in this case was that child, the girl was going to bed and with the father finally, and then she knew exactly subconsciously that her mother and her father were arguing, where it was, you know, they were arguing every night because they didn't want to do it in front of her. And in front of her, they were good. So subconsciously, she couldn't sleep. And she really couldn't sleep. She wasn't making it up. She really couldn't sleep. She was getting up. She was going there because subconsciously, she didn't want them to argue. And I've seen that with people who, for example, have a lot of worries that they, you know, somehow, of what's happening outside, what's happening in the world. People who, and that's one of my topics that I keep saying, people who watch a lot of news at night, you know, just before falling asleep. Well, the thing that you hear at night just before sleeping will sink into your subconscious mind. So it's really important that the last thing that you do before sleeping should be something positive and not negative. Yeah, it should be something where your subconscious mind can work with. So if you are someone who watches a lot of news just before and fall asleep maybe over the news, what happens is that your subconscious mind exactly takes these news in and knows that, oh my God, all of that is happening while I'm sleeping. Yeah, so the subconscious mind doesn't really want to sleep, so you have insomnia sometimes, or just wake up a lot of times because you feel restless. Yeah. But then, you know, there are so many different scenarios. So that's why, Maisa, thank you very much for sharing that and for asking that question, but please get in touch with me. I have another question here. Okay, Daniela would suggest use toys and action figures to let him talk about it. Character for each person. Yeah, exactly. Danielle is, by the way, one of our hypno-parenting coaches here. And this is actually also a technique that we do in hypnoparenting, to talk to them with toys. Yeah. A little concerned about my toddler's social life during lockdown. She's turned 3 and can't comprehend the idea of not being able to go out, and she's frustrated. Again, turn that frustration into something positive. Don't show her that you're frustrated too. Change the way she sees things. So create things with her. And this is, I do want to, and I know I'm talking very fast now, but I do want to give you one more tip to that, which fits really well. Let them come up with something. Yeah. And most of the time, parents want to suggest to their children what to do. You know, children are bored, or children, whatever it is, parents suggest a lot of things. Let the children come up with things on their own. Yeah. So even if she's 3, you can ask her, you know, what can we do, and make it interesting, make it exciting. Yeah. Make it exciting to her. Thing is, ask yourself, if someone tells you what to do you like to do it? Be honest. No, I see some, yeah, absolutely, right? Nobody likes to be told what to do, yeah? So instead of telling them, you know, okay, just sit there and play for a moment or something, ask them, and they can, and allow them to be creative. Children are so creative, yeah? So ask them what they want to do rather than telling them what to do. And this leads me into one tip that I do want to share with you before I end this call. So a lot of times parents either suggest or give advice. Now imagine something happened, and this you can use now or after the lockdown, whatever it is. When something happened, and let's say your child who is 6 or 7 comes home from school and he is really sad because nobody played with me today. And they, you know, they just let me go. They just ignored me and nobody played with me. Now, this is a huge problem for that 6-year-old child. Yeah. So first of all, acknowledge it. Don't say, "Ah, come on, that's fine." Yeah, because for that child, the child doesn't understand Corona. The child doesn't understand no work. The child doesn't understand my clients are not paying. The child, for him, this is his problem. Now, when I ask the question, you know, how do you react? Most parents would say, well, I tell him next time you go and speak to the teacher, or, you know, or why didn't you just tell them this, or why didn't you go and see the principal? The thing is that many parents like to give advice. What happens in the mind of the child in this moment? The child has a huge problem, and that problem is children are not playing with me. Yeah, that's his problem. Now, by telling him, why didn't you go and tell the teacher, or you should have done this, I have just created a second problem in that child's mind. First problem is the children are not playing with me. The second problem is I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to deal with it. I'm not, you know, smart enough. So don't tell them what to do. Ask them. Instead of telling them, ask them. Now, 2 things happen when you ask a child the right way. Ask them, what would you do if this happens again? Now, 2 things happen. 1, the child will think and will start coming. And please, when you ask a question, wait for the answer. Don't ask a question and answer immediately, right? Wait for the answer. Be patient. So, and then the child, first of all, will be creative, will come up with a solution. And you know, I do these talks a lot in nurseries and in schools. And I have so many requests from nurseries who say, please talk about that independence or sense of responsibility of children. And this is where it starts. We expect out of, you know, for all of you who are working, we expect of our teams to be problem solvers, yeah, to be able to solve problems. Let the child grow up learning how to solve problems. Yeah. So ask them, how would you do it? How would you solve that next time? And whatever they say is right for them. Don't say, no, that's wrong. Yeah. Now, 2 things happen, like I said. One of them is they will create themselves the solution. And the second thing that happens is that while they're creating, so I'm asking them, what would you do? I will tell them that I want to play. So while he is saying that, what's happening in his mind? He is seeing it. He's imagining that story. He's imagining that he's doing it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to say it, right? Because every thought is an imagination. And you remember, if you remember well, I told you at the beginning that imagination, what you imagine of the future or of the past, is reality for your subconscious mind. So if he imagines that he's doing that, then it will be at some point easier for him because his mind is already practicing that. However, if he imagines that you're telling him, why didn't you do that? He is getting that negative impact or effect from you. I don't know if this makes sense. That it makes sense, because this is really important. Yes, I see some nods here. Yes, okay. For your 3-year-old, you can use puppets and talk to them. Exactly. So yeah, like Beryl also says, puppets. You know, whatever tools you have, you can play with them. Whatever. You can even use their toys, whatever they can talk to them if they are scared, if there's fear involved at night, you know, going to bed. You can also take some toys and let them talk to them. The thing is, and that's, you know, what happens when we are afraid, we're afraid to say something. The words that we don't say are stuck in us. It's energy. Words are energy. And this energy is stuck inside of us. So what we actually do as hypnotherapists in a session is we let the person talk. We let the person that is now maybe 40 remember what happened when he was 5 and then talk. Let all these words that are stuck in him that he couldn't say at 5 years old, let him say them. Because once they're out, that energy is, you're freeing yourself from them. Yeah. So you can do the same thing with your child. Don't go back to traumas or something like that. Yeah. Then you can find a hypnotherapist around you, but take them to a room where they can play exactly what happened and let them talk. Let them shout at that person. Let them say everything they wanted to say and couldn't say, so it's not stuck inside of them. Yeah, so thank you, Beryl and Danielle, also both for commenting here. Okay, so I have so much to say to you. I could talk for another 4 days or 4 weeks. So for everyone who has enjoyed it tonight, and for all of you actually, please send me an email, and I will now just type in here a couple of links and then explain to you what they are. So I could hear you talk. Thank you so much for your comments. So here is what, if you all look into the chat, I have copied a couple of links here. So the first link is, it disappeared. If you want to register for that whole series, now today I was talking, but as I said before, every night we have had an amazing speaker talk from the 1st of April. This series will go on till the 12th of April daily. And then, because people are going out, it will be weekly, yeah? It will be weekly, and we will have a speaker talk about really some subjects and give you tips and tools. We've had meditations on the talks and much, much more. Laughter yoga, etc. So if you want to register for that, please, that is the first link here. By the way, there are 3 little dots where it says file. If you click on them, you can save the chat, so you have the links if you don't want to copy them. The second link is if you want to watch all the replays of all these wonderful speakers that I just spoke about, you can go on mindyourpower.org. That's my website. It's Your Life, all speakers. And you can watch the replays of every single one of them and also get their contact details. Or my YouTube channel also, Mind Your Power. Now, I have another request, because from the 12th of May onwards, I believe that every single one of you, I believe that every single person on this earth has something to share. You don't need to be a doctor, a therapist, a researcher, or whatever to be able to give a positive message to the world. This series, It's Your Life, I would love to continue it with stories that everybody can share. It should be a positive story, though, that everybody can learn from. Because we learn from children, don't we? And we have the topic of children right now. So don't we learn when we hear from children so many valuable things? And I'm not saying you're a child. However, you know, everything that you would like to share, if it's a story of how you manage to cope with certain situations or whatever it is, please send me an email to mona@mindyourpower.org. It's MONA@mindyourpower.org. And I would be more than happy to host you on that series, on this series. And the last link that I sent you, if you go to mindyourpower.org, and on the very top, it says event registration, but you can also take that link. You can see all my courses that are coming up. I have an NLP course that is coming up in May. I have an NLP course in German that is coming up in May. I also have a hypnotherapy and NLP course combined, which is going to go over 2 months. All of them are virtual. All of them are happening on Zoom. And I have a hypno-parenting webinar that is free, where you can, again, ask questions and listen to different tips, because I have not covered all tips today. So that webinar is on the 20th of May. You can also sign up on my page. It's free, but you have to register to get the link. And then I have another link for you there with a course, the Hypno-Parenting course, which also goes over 4 weeks, and it starts on the 27th of May. And also on that page, for all therapists or coaches out there, I have starting on the 18th of May, I have a Hypno-Parenting coach training. So if you are already a hypnotherapist, you can take that training in order to yourself get all the material that, you know, I have, and the games and everything, and conduct these trainings and be part of the hypnoparenting community worldwide. Now, do we have any other questions? Christina is saying we're interested in German too. Of course, Christina, send me again. And lastly, please, all of you, please do send me an email, because only if you send me an email, I can send you the free ebook. Yeah, do that, please. I have talks in German, I have webinars in German, and I also have a lot of coaches. One of them is on the call. I saw Brigitte is on the call. She's a hypnoparenting coach in Switzerland. And like I said before, Danielle is a hypnoparenting coach in Lebanon. So yes, I have these courses in Arabic, German, English, and up to now in these 3 languages, yes. So now I would like to thank every one of you who was on the call, because you did it for your children, but also remember, do it for yourself. Start with yourself. Do something for yourself. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your questions. And I hope to see many of you again tomorrow and the day after, and in every one of our calls. Thank you. I love and leave you all, and goodbye.